Welcome to the Stress Free Dentist Podcast. I'm Dr. Eric Block. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, burned out, or like your practice is running you instead of the other way around, you're in the right place. Each week, I sit down with leaders in dentistry to share the lessons they've learned from their successes, failures, strengths, and setbacks. And the goal is simple to help you build a more efficient, productive, and less stressful career and a better life outside of it. For more resources, books, and upcoming events, visit thestressfreedentist.com. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. And today I am joined by Sergei Azernikov, who is the SVP or Senior Vice President of Software Development of Glidewell Laboratories. Sergei, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, Sergey, we actually just saw each other not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. Sergey was nice enough to invite me on his show, the Glidewell TV show, and I had a great time. And Sergey was a great interviewer, and he's got a great story. One of the nicest people I've met, one of the smartest people I've met, but also extremely humble and really welcomed me to Glidewell in his studio with open arms. So, Sergey, let's actually first just hear your story of how did you go from where you were to working for a dental lab?
Yeah, it wasn't a straight path. Even though I must say that even when I was at school, when I was in my master's and PhD program, I had some exposure to dental space because I was in the area of computer vision, computational geometry, and it was the time early 2000s when the technology started getting into digital technology started getting into dentistry, but it was really early. And I remember that one of the doctors, I was in Israel back in the day in Technion, and a doctor orthodontist came to our lab. He was forward-looking enough. He understood the potential, and he came to our lab to see what's available today in terms of scanning and 3D printing. And we had some very early scanners, nothing close to what we have today. It wasn't possible to scan a patient back then, just casts, right, like stone models. But he already understood that this can be taken to the next level, and he even asked me to present at his seminar that he was giving in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem to explain the students what's available today and what's coming. And I still remember those days, and he told me that was like more than 25 years ago. And he told me that the company that will come up with intraoral scanner that will actually work, that will be $1 million company. So now 25 years later, we have billion-dollar companies that do that. But that was really the start. That was the first exposure, and I didn't think from then I didn't think I'll be actually in dentistry. But I knew that there is an opportunity. But I moved on. I actually worked on some industrial applications at the University of Michigan as a postdoc, and then I took my first job out of academia with Siemens Corporate Research, where I was working on hearing aids, so patient specific, but very different vertical, and then from there. I moved around to some other patient-specific applications like orthopedics, um, and uh, and and actually, surprisingly or not surprisingly, the workflow in all those verticals is actually very similar to what is done in dentistry. It's a patient specific, some sort of modality, acquisition of patient's anatomy, design of a device, more complex or less complex, depends, and then some sort of manufacturing, rapid prototyping, either with 3D printing or milling. And so that workflow is actually pretty standard across all these different verticals, and that's how I started thinking, and how I got to dental. I saw that uh, Glidewell is actually building a new team to work on dental design. and design automation, and that's what I was doing before. So I realized this is a nice another vertical to get into early, and essentially using the similar tools and innovate there. Interestingly enough, 3Shape, as everybody knows today as a dental company, but I knew it as a hearing aid company back from my Siemens days. And coming to Glidewell, I saw that Glidewell actually is using 3Shape, and 3Shape, Frank literally learned how to make teeth from Glidewell and built their product initially for Glidewell. But Glidewell quickly realized that they need their own software to control their destiny and to be able to uh, really expand quickly and do things that fit their scale and pace. So that's when I came on board. I came on board as a developer, as a software developer, algorithm developer, which was my background and expertise. And it was really the beginning. I was second person on the team. Today we have around 200. So we grew quite a bit. It's been over a decade, about 14 years now. And then later on, we saw a great potential in machine learning and AI when it really burst into the common space in around 2015. It became clear that the tools that are coming up, they can be very useful in many applications, and we realized the first potential in dental design, in automating crowns, design of crowns and bridges. And today, we have 100% of our designs done using generative AI. And today, everybody's talking about this, but back in 2015, 2016, it wasn't obvious. And so those advancements actually made waves out of dentistry as well. We were able to present it in conferences like NVIDIA GTC, for example. Today, again, everybody know NVIDIA. NVIDIA is like $5 trillion company. Back then, it was a very small event, maybe about 5,000 people overall, and the company was known as a gaming company. Today, it's all about AI, but in those early days, it was still around gaming and a little bit about AI. And so we were very early adopters of this technology, as well as cloud. And AWS also came about at almost the same time. And so cloud allowed us to accumulate a lot of data and make it available for machine learning. And it turned out that dentistry is actually a great use case for machine learning because you have lots of data that are kind of similar but different. Even the same person, as you will know, doesn't have the same teeth, right? So all teeth are a little bit different, but they're close enough to be able to learn patterns. So that's exactly what machine learning is about, right? So it was extremely effective. So this was really high level. The journey today, I'm running the whole development. It's not just machine learning is just part of this, but it's a systems that support our manufacturing, our corporate, and the designers, obviously, and the chairside that you are one of the more prominent users of Glidewell IO. That's also empowered by the same software that we've been working on.
Now, when you were making working for Siemens, did you actually scan the ears for hearing aids?
It's a great question. So, well, traditionally, there was a impression, like it's just unlike teeth, which are positive and impression is negative. With ears, it's the opposite. It's the other way around. Ear is negative, ear canal is negative. The impression is positive, so it's easier to scan it using optical scanning. And so common practice was to make an impression and scan it with optical scanner. And again, first 3Shape scanner was made for scanning ear models. Now later on, there were a number of attempts to come up with an intraoral scanner. That is a little bit harder because again, because ear is ear canal is concave, and it's very complex, right? So depends on some people have more curved canal, some people less, but in general, it's curved. And it's also very important not to hurt the membrane, right? So there are lots of constraints. It's also quite hostile environment with the cerumen and hair. So it's not easy to scan. So those attempts there are some scanners available on the market, but I'm not involved in this too close right now. But as far as I know, the common practice is still to make impressions and scan them optically because it's easy. And scanning dental impression optically is hard, or sometimes impossible. Right? That's why we developed our own CT scanner to do this. With ears, it's actually easier. Right? So that's the standard of care.
Interesting. And now you said you had been working with AI since about 2015. We're in 2026. That you've been working on this for 11 years. How much have you seen it changed over the last 11 years?
It's it so the pace is actually accelerating. Right? It changed a lot, but it's also the pace is really becoming so quick that it's changing. Today it's changing almost weekly or daily, maybe. But really, what we were using back in the day in 2015 were very early generative models. They were not they were very far from the size of the models that the people training today. Right? And today the focus is on models that generate text, large language models, and it turns out that they can be applied to such a variety of applications because a lot of things that we do, our routinely tasks are related to language. What we were in the beginning, what we were looking at were models that were coming from the computer vision field. So they were generating images or 3D models for us as we needed. And so these were different types of models, different sizes, very small. I mean, relatively to what we have today, small size models. And imagine that back in the day we didn't have. And today it's very easy to host those models, to use them. You don't need. I mean, today you don't even need to train your own models. You can use off the shelf. That was not the case back in the day. So we really worked hard on training, collecting data, and training our own models, and then even hosting them, like putting them in a place where it's easy to access. Today we have AWS, Bedrock, and all the systems that allow you very easy management of ML models. It wasn't in existence back then, so we had to build that infrastructure as well for ourselves. So things changed dramatically since then. Today, the entrance barrier and the costs and I mean the cost actually became different. You pay for tokens of using somebody else's models rather than uh, hosting your own models and or training your own models. Very few people actually do that today. Majority of people just use what's available. So it's really the I think the use cases changed a lot. The availability changed, but one thing has not changed, and it's progressing super quickly and enables more and more innovative applications that at the end of the day open opportunities that were not available even just a couple months ago.
It's amazing how quickly it's changing.
Yeah.
And I see it on my fast mill. The proposals I get for the crowns are just getting better and better. Um, how are you using AI to with these improvements? I imagine you can code or make software developments much quicker now.
Right. So there are two vectors of improvement here. One is the way we train and generate those models is improving, and you see those results. And also the coding, the models that others are putting out there, the LLMs and the systems that again became now and they came into spotlight. Like SpaceX just acquired Cursor, and so people even that are not familiar with coding probably hear about that because it makes such a big splash around it. So systems like Cursor allow you to code much quicker. And so it's essentially it's a self accelerating wheel where you develop faster, you get more adoption, you get more data, and then and then you get better models, you get better utilization. So this is really accelerating quickly, and that's why today you see the pace of change is so high. We initially like the initial in order to build the initial version of this generative AI that created crowns, we spent very significant amount of time. I mean, it took us a couple of years. We started from collaboration, which is also, I think, interesting to mention. We started with collaboration with the University of Berkeley, UC Berkeley, and that took about a year, just the proof of concept to see that it actually can work, and then I guess another year to productize it, to make it fully utilized in production. So from 2015 to 2017, right? So that was the time frame, and then it took us a couple months to actually select the right data for the training, because you don't want to feed all your designs into this. You want to pick the best designs and that were done by your best technicians. So we were actually lucky that we had our owner, Mr. Glidewell, spending literally hours with us every day, reviewing crowns, reviewing quality, and advising us of what we should include, what we should exclude. And so that all took very, very long time. Today, updating a model may take us 1 week, right, instead of months of work. Right? So this is the scale of change, and potentially it can be even faster.
Wow. Now, I imagine, in the future wise, everything's just going to keep getting, better or quicker, such as, the time it takes to mill a crown or design a crown or trace the margin. I imagine it'll just keep getting, and I've noticed it, since I've had the fast scan and fast mill, it's gotten better, it's gotten quicker, the machine's gotten quieter, like these little improvements that keep happening with updates. Um, how do you envision the future here? Is it we're just going to keep seeing updates and improvements like this?
I think so. From the start, we had this vision of um, a system where essentially the doctor, you need to scan a patient. Once the scan is done and it's high quality, it's good enough. From there on, the system can take on it. It can design the restoration. You just need to look at it and improve it, and just to say okay, and maybe make some minor changes, but ideally no changes needed, and then it goes directly to the mill, and you put it in patient's mouth, because it's already pre-sintered. So that was the vision from the start, and I think we're getting closer and closer to that. You may attest to that, but I think today, like I said, we make the meal faster, so it can meal faster and faster. We improve proposals, we improve margin detection. Working with our partners, they improve the scan quality, right? Like if you look at the quality of let's say previous Medit scanners, i700 to i900, there is a leap, and so the input becomes better, the proposals become better, and I believe we're very close to a point where it will be really a one button click, which tremendously reduces the again entrance barrier for dentists to start chairside milling. And I don't need to convince you. You are one of the people that really believed in it from the earlier on. But lots of doctors still don't get into it because they are concerned. They hesitate. They don't want to spend the time to learn it, or they just don't think that it makes sense for them. But once it is highly automated or fully automated, I think there will be no brainer. So that's the vision, and we're constantly pushing the limits of this. We're trying to bring more value to the practice. We're actively working now on integrations with practice management software, so that will streamline the process even more. Because today, most of the time, you have to create your treatment plan on your practice management software, but then when you go to your scanner, you have to retype all the information, which takes time again, and we want to eliminate that. We want to close that gap, and then on the feedback loop, also we want to be able to update automatically on the status of our lab cases, and being able to check, being able to verify the quality of the crowns that we send. And if you take a post-operative scan, look at it and make sure that if there's a problem, for example, if there is an open margin, we can feed it back into the algorithm and improve the quality for the next time. So all these things we're working on actively today, and I think again the overall vision is to make it as streamlined as possible. So it's just becomes one button click.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I mean, I enjoy it. I love same day crowns. I love milling. I love scanning. I love all that stuff. And I could never go back to traditional impressions. And it's made me enjoy dentistry more. And it's made me a better dentist. When I scan and I blow up that tooth and evaluate my prep, I trim out the areas that I need to fix. I go back, I re-prep, I rescan, and I do that several times. And and guess who else senses this? The patient. The patient senses that you're using the best technology out there. They are absolutely wowed by the technology, and those are the ones that will tell their friends and family and colleague to come and see Dr. Block and become a patient. So I love it, and I get, some dentists they're very hesitant to change, because in clinical dentistry, we don't want to make mistakes or redos. We do things that we're comfortable with, but if you're not moving forward, you're gonna get lost. If you're just on that hamster wheel of dentistry and doing the same thing over and over, you're gonna fall behind. And I was just thinking that, that type of dentist that doesn't want to change and improve, and maybe they're doing awesome dentistry and they love what they do, and that's great. But your job is the opposite. Your job in Glidewell is to constantly change and constantly improve and constantly get better. You're almost like the opposite of a dentist that doesn't want to change.
That's right, and I think in that sense, it's not just me. It's been Glidewell's motto, constant change. There's a book that Jim Glidewell wrote that it has its name. It has the name Constant Change. So really, I think what differentiates, and that's what I think primarily allowed Glidewell to be what it is constant look for the next thing. Right? We're constantly looking for that next leap, right? Like it's not just iterative improvements. It's this next browser, this next chairside system, right? Like those next CAD CAM. I believe that's what really moving the needle forward. And yes, my job is in that sense. It's exciting, but it's also difficult because a lot of times things that we do take literally decades until they get fully adopted. Right? Like I saw that internally and externally because we also develop tools for internal use at Glidewell. And so change is difficult for everybody. But I believe people who are excited about it, they benefit the most. Like early adopters, they benefit the most as always. They take risks, and they are rewarded most of the time.
Now, what's a day in the life of Sergey like? You probably wake up at 5, you go surfing, or you go for a swim. Um, but when you get to the office, you have a team. How does it work? Let's say, do you specifically or mostly listen to customer feedback on something you want to prove upon, such as, tracing the margin or the design of the crown, or do you have one team working on that, one team working on crown proposal? How does that work?
So I can tell you today, typically my day starts when I'm driving to the office. I have calls with the teams that are remote because we have teams in different geographies. So I have to start early in order to be able to have an overlap in time. So 7 or 8 a.m. Uh, while I'm still in the car, I'm talking to those teams. We have quick stand-ups just to understand if there are any issues if there are any blockers that we need to resolve immediately. That happens pretty much every day, and then depends on the day, right? Like there are lots of days where you have immediate things that you need to resolve because I'm now responsible not only on the CAD CAM of things, but like I said, also on some enterprise systems and talking about change. We're moving from paper now, as we speak, we're moving from paper invoices to digital invoices, and there are people who don't like it. So we need to deal with that. We need to understand how do we improve our systems while we respect the needs of people who still want their paper invoices, right? These are typical challenges. That's I'm describing. I'm doing today as we speak. So I did it before we jump on a call, and I will probably deal with it after. Now with and so these things happening all the time in the background. Now, at the same time, we have a true R&D effort that's also going for. So we have teams for chairside, we have teams for that develop tools for our lab use, and we have dedicated people that do machine learning. I work with them quite closely. Then there is a whole team of testers, like QA personnel that trying to understand and verify everything we're putting out there. Um, we have now the big push on user experience, so we're trying to really improve the systems that we provide to our customers, like our portal, mobile app, the all these things that need to work together with our chairside system, and again, like I mentioned, the integrations with other systems is a big focus of mine right now. So all these things actually moving at the same time. So I feel like I'm a little bit like in the circus. Like I need to juggle five or six different tasks at the same time, and my calendar is full of meetings. And the time that really I can spend on thinking and like deep work is typically after everybody's gone. So it typically happens after 5 o'clock. I can lock my door and just think about what happened during the day and plan for the next day. So this is a sort of typical schedule for me. And like you said, I try to squeeze in some workout, which I think is very important. And as more I age, I feel like this is becoming more and more critical to stay to be able to do all these things and stay focused.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Your day sounds very similar to mine. Instead of the meetings on the phone in the car, I have a morning huddle and we kind of review the day, and if there are any issues from previous days, like you said, blockers or bottlenecks. And then from there, it's just absolute, sometimes chaos. Like I feel like I'm running around in five different directions with my patients, with staff, with everything that goes on in a dental office. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but man, the day flies by. Uh, Sergey, what do you see, in the future for CAD CAM and AI? I know you probably you can't give away the company secrets, but what's the future look like for us?
So the future, as we already touched upon, I think looks exciting. There's a lot of promising technology. One of the things I'm excited about is voice interfaces that I think will play a very significant role in dentist office. In the past, there was some hesitation about privacy issues, but today I see more and more dentists actually using those tools. But I think there's a lot to be done through that as it becomes smarter and smarter. More and more operations you'll be able to do just by saying, and so maybe to a point where you can have a virtual assistant that can do all your bookings and scheduling and even potentially talking to your patients. Right, all that is actually doable today. So I think that will be a big change in a relatively near future potentially. Another opportunity, which is also a little bit, it looks like futuristic today, but there is a technology that may allow you to introduce more robotics into your practice. We've been looking at some technologies where companies try to build a robot that will be able to automatically prep, uh, right, with the right imaging modality. So I think as it looks today, maybe a little bit far, again, in terms of adoption, like when the patients will be ready to accept that a robot will prep them. But I can tell you that today I drove my car, like I drove my Tesla, and we talked about this when you were here. I trust the full self-drive car, full self-drive system now more than myself. So maybe we're not that far from the day when the patient will trust a robotic doctor, and it's happening already in other areas of medicine. And so I think it's definitely going to come. The question because just the time. Right. So I think these two things are definitely happening on the on another level. Like if you think about software, I believe that what is really missing today in dentistry is a platform. And so when you introduce a new system to your practice, you need to figure out how it will interplay with those other systems. Right? There's no gluing layer, and sometimes it gets to a point where you need to have an IT personnel, somebody who will actually take care of these things because it may be complex for many dentists to deal with that. So I think that is also a huge opportunity, and that it probably will change. I mean, I'm sure it will change because there is a gap there. You need something similar to what Microsoft did with software when they introduced Windows, DOS, and Windows. That any type of software, as long as it provides those interfaces, can be plug and play, right? Or any device, right? Any USB device you can just plug, and it automatically finds all the required drivers, and it works. That is the situation that I'm expecting, and I think will be in dentistry. It's something we've been thinking about as well, and it obviously requires some collaboration between different players, right? Between significant players in that space. But that's where I think the bigger shift will come as well. Again, because the development became easier with AI, right? Software development became much more streamlined. It's easier now to come up with those systems, come up with interfaces, And I think it will happen relatively soon as well.
That's awesome. All right, Sergey, final question. I know you're a busy man. What advice would you give to the young dentists out there or the young entrepreneurs out there in general?
So they're young dentist and young entrepreneur, they may have different goals, right? So for the young dentist, I like I was talking to in my podcast, I was talking to um, Jeremy Krell. He was one of my first guests, and I like the way he put it. Like, you cannot afford to stay archaic. Right? So if you come into a profession and you think you're gonna just do what others did before, not a good idea. Like, you have to look around and see. And sometimes it may be difficult because there's a lot of hype as well. But you really need to identify and think about technologies that are promising, that really help you, and try to adopt them. Because if you hesitate, others will run faster, and the competition becomes stronger. And especially this is true for those doctors that want to stay independent, right? If they go to a DSO, it's a different play. But if they want to stay independent, they need to be as effective as possible in their practice to make sure that it runs efficiently and using the tools that are available. Right? So that's for the doctor. Now, for the entrepreneur, I think it connects well to what I just said. There is a huge opportunity in dentistry because I think it was historically underserved versus other branches of medicine. So there are lots of opportunities to again improve interoperability between systems. The development of that platform, and it's once it happens, and it opens ways for developers to get in. Think about your Apple Store, right, or Google, Android, right? So it's open to everybody. So imagine you have something like that in dentistry, where with very low barrier, somebody can develop applications that are available to doctors immediately. This is the future I'm looking for, and I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to get into that space, that's what you need to think about, how to get to the widest possible market and make it available quickly so that people can utilize it. This is I believe the next big thing in the industry.
Oh, Sergey, thank you so much. That was such a great episode. Again, Sergei Azernikov, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Eric. It was a great pleasure to speaking with you, and I hope it will be interesting episode for your viewers.
Thank you for tuning in to the Stress Free Dentist podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another dental professional who could use a little less stress in their life. And head over to thestressfreedentist.com to check out my books, resources, and upcoming events, all designed to help you find more balance and joy in your dental career. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.